The PRINCE2 principles. First, what are principles? Well, principles are a guide for good practice. And from a PRINCE2 point of view, principles are a guide for good project management practice for all those involved in a project. And there are 7 of these good principles that are practices that should be included in all PRINCE2 projects. We will start with the first one, continued business justification. A PRINCE2 project should have continued business justification. Therefore, each project should have a clear business case, so a clear business reason for existence. PRINCE2 requires that for all projects, there is a justifiable reason for starting the project. And this justification is recorded and approved, or should be recorded and approved, and the justification should remain valid, and this is constantly checked throughout the life of the project. So in which documents do we check the business justification? Well, this is the business case mainly. So next I will look at the different points in the project where we can check. First, the project should check actually what business reasons are already included in the project mandate. And the executive then can use these business reasons when creating the outline business case. The second check is at the end of the starting up a project process using the outline business case document. So the outline business case document is part of the project brief, and this is the first light version of the business case. The third check is at the end of the initiation stage, again using the business case document. So the business case now includes a more realistic estimate of the cost of the project than the outline, the business case. And that's because we have the information from the project plan. And from then on, the business case can be checked at the end of each stage. And the last check, of course, will be at the end of the project. Each time the project board checks the business justification at the end of a stage, they can decide to shut down the project if it doesn't make sense anymore, or to allow it to continue. So that's it for the principle, continued business justification. Principle 2, defined roles and responsibilities. A PRINCE2 project should have defined and agreed roles or responsibilities. Also, business user and supplier interests must be represented. Otherwise, this will lead to trouble. People also need to know what they should be doing and what they can expect from others. And this will make life very easy for the project manager. A PRINCE2 project has 3 primary stakeholders. We have the business sponsor, user, and suppliers. So the business sponsor, well, they make sure that the project delivers value for money. Users, well, they will use the products once created and receive the benefits. And the suppliers, well, they'll provide the resources and expertise to produce the products. So when do we think about roles and responsibilities? Well, we first define the project management team in the starting up a project process. Remember, this is very, very high level. So we're just talking about the project board, project manager, change authority, and project support. However, they still must be made aware of their roles and responsibilities. At the end of each stage as well, we can check that people are living up to the responsibilities. And if not, the project manager should ask for this person to be replaced. For example, let's say one of the senior suppliers could be very busy working on other projects, so it's a good idea to replace them. So this principle, define roles and responsibilities, helps to answer 3 questions. 1, what is expected of me? 2, what can I expect from others? And 3, who makes what decisions? The third principle, learn from experience. So this name is easy to understand. Projects, teams should learn from experience. So look for lessons, record these lessons, and then use these lessons during the life of the project. Therefore, they should take initiative to uncover previous lessons learned and benefit from these. Projects in their nature are unique, and there's always something new which brings risk. So why not learn from other projects? And this will help to reduce project risk. This also helps to avoid reinventing the wheel and avoid making the same mistakes. So when do we gather lessons in a project? Well, in the starting up a project process, the project manager already encourages all stakeholders to come with lessons, and they should also check lesson reports from similar previous projects. And then in the IP stage, the project will use these gathered lessons and continue to gather new lessons for future stages. And then in every stage boundary process, the project manager will create the new stage plan using the lessons from previous stages. And at the end of the project, the lessons report can be made available to other projects, or should be made available to other projects. A good point to note here is that sharing and using lessons is a sign of mature project management in a project. PRINCE2 actually states that it's the responsibility of all stakeholders to seek lessons rather than waiting for someone else to provide them. Principle number 4, manage by stages. Our PRINCE2 project is planned, monitored and controlled on a stage-by-stage basis. And PRINCE2 breaks down projects into chunks, and we call these management stages, as each management stage is separated by a project board decision or a management decision. The project manager runs the project one stage at a time for the project board. And the advantages of working in stages are: 1, it allows the project to be divided up into a number of manageable chunks. So then we will have, let's say, a high-level project plan for the whole project and a very detailed stage plan for each stage. And 2, future stages can learn from previous stages. So for example, if one supplier is 20% late in one stage and 15% in another, then we can take this into account when planning the future stages. There are a minimum of 2 management stages in a project: the initiation stage and 1 delivery stage. Then the closing a project process will be the last part of the second stage in a 2-stage project. So that's it for manage by stages. Principle number 5, manage by exception. First, some background here, as this will help to explain it. Our project manager runs the project on behalf of the project board, and the project board don't want to be disrupted every 5 minutes with every small issue that will happen. For example, if product X is going to cost 0.1% extra. So how to avoid the project manager running to the project board every 5 minutes? Well, the answer is the project board can set tolerances to give the project manager a bit more flexibility. For example, they can give a tolerance of 20% for time or costs. So if there is an issue that delays the stage by 5%, then the project manager can deal with this without having to run to the project board screaming for help. Tolerances can be set for time, cost, quality, scope, benefits, and risks, so the 6 project variables. And the most common of these are time, cost, and quality. Now, time and costs are easy to understand, but I will explain a few more. The scope? Well, the scope must be well defined, and care must be taken by the project manager to avoid scope creep, which is to allow new low-value requirements to be added during the project or to creep into the project. Quality? Quality is checking that products are passing the quality tests and meeting the quality requirements as defined. The other 2 tolerances are risks and benefits, but I will explain benefits a bit more. Benefits is checking the future value of the project and if the project is still worth doing from an investment point of view. If during the project the stage tolerances exceed the agreed amounts, then the project manager will escalate this to the project board. So manage by exception is used by each level in the project organization to manage the level below. And the layer below then should only notify the management layer above if there is a big issue which goes out of tolerance. So who sets the tolerances? Well, the CPC set the project tolerances. The project board set the stage tolerances, and the project manager sets the work package tolerances. So to summarize, Manage by exception provides the above management layer with a system to manage and control the lower management layer without being bothered by every small issue. Principle number 6, focus on products. Our PRINCE2 project is very focused on the definition and delivery of products. So the focus is on clearly defining the requirements for each product. So what happens when the product is not properly defined? Well, then everybody will have a different idea, so everybody will have different expectations. And this will cause unnecessary meetings, development delays, and delivery of a product that will not be used or perhaps will not be used. So where do we define products and write these product descriptions? Well, the first thing we do from a product point of view is to create the project product description in the SU process. And this is normally a 1 to 2 page document. So it describes the main output of the project so that all project stakeholders then have the same expectations at the start of the project, which is a good start. Then the majority of product descriptions can be defined in the initiation stage. But we also create and update product descriptions in each stage boundary process as well, or that can be done there. PRINCE2 also states that we should start writing product descriptions as soon as possible, so all project stakeholders have a clear idea on what to expect. Some advantages of focusing on products are it helps to reduce scope creep, and this also reduces the risk of user dissatisfaction as users know what they're going to get. The 7th principle is tailor to suit the project. And the purpose of tailoring is to ensure that the PRINCE2 method is appropriate for the project and supports the project. And also to lower bureaucracy, in other words, to limit the number of management documents and administration around the project. PRINCE2 can be used on all types of project, let's say from a 1-day project to a 900-day project. And even a 1-day project can use all the PRINCE2 principles. As far as documentation is concerned, there's a good rule, and the rule is just do the minimum amount of documentation to control the project and no more. Here is a simple sample project that you can find on the internet. It's a good example of a very light, tailored PRINCE2 project based on Trello. So just search on Google for PRINCE2 and then U2 Driving School project. I have given some good examples here of many of the PRINCE2 products in this Trello example. So tailoring is not part of the PRINCE2 syllabus, so that's all you really need to know about this topic. So that's an overview of the PRINCE2 principles. And remember that these are good management practices or good project management practices that should be included in all PRINCE2 projects.